Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to this Crystal Connections video where we're exploring the astrological events of February 2024. The festive season is well and truly over. We are back to work, kids are back at school, I'm back in the bush and we're ready to go for another year. And what we're going to look at today is how you can work with the different energy shifts that will be happening up in the heavens by using the gifts here on Earth in the way of your crystals and in your essential oils. Now, the first event that's going to be happening will vary on which hemisphere you're in. It's a solar festival. So for those of you that are in the southern hemisphere, it is the celebration of Lughnasadh. Now, Lughnasadh marks the date, the midpoint between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. This year it's on the 4th of February. This is the time of celebrating the harvest, the end of summer, and the end of the fruitful times. This is a time of gratitude when we reflect and kind of look at the fruits of our labor and what we've kind of earned in the last year and what we're kind of really grateful for. It's a really great time to focus on the sacral chakra. We're kind of focusing on being creative. Lu was the god, the Celtic god, which Lughnasadh was named after, was known to be a bit of a musician and an artist. So we kind of get a bit creative. We kind of celebrate the creative arts of other people. We support artists in that way and really dive into the essence of the celebration and joy of being alive. Very sacral chakra in that way. Of course, I have a YouTube video that goes through it in a whole extensive more, so check that out afterwards if you'd like to know more about it. So the crystal that's really great, being a solar festival to do with the sun, and we're focusing on the sacral chakra, let's get out some good old Sunstone. Sunstone obviously brings that joyousness, that happiness, that kind of pleasure in life. And a lot of the time we don't allow ourselves to actually enjoy life. We're too busy adulting. We've got adult serious things to do. Sunstone brings that celebration in. It encourages us to gather the people we care about around us and, share a meal, share some songs, do something artistic, be creative, just have fun and relish in the pleasure of being with each other. And Sunstone really helps with that. And also if there are any issues with anyone you're close to, Sunstone's really helpful in that way. Now, wild orange is the essential oil that I recommend, or sweet orange essential oil. Again, it's got that playful nature. It really encourages us to look at what makes us happy, which may seem like a kind of a trivial question, but what does make you happy? What makes you happy that doesn't rely on someone else making you happy or something, another thing making you happy? How can you just stay in your state of joy all the time? And wild orange actually really encourages you to do that. So working with Sunstone and wild orange throughout the Lughnasadh can be really, really great, and focusing on that sacral chakra. Now, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's not warm at all. You're probably still freezing cold. That's because you've got to the festival of Imbolc. Now, Imbolc is halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And what happens in Imbolc, it's kind of about the first light. You'll start to see the first signs of spring coming. Maybe some native plants are just starting to blossom. Not all of them yet. We're not going to get too excited. It could still be snowy in your region or whatever. But what we do here is we're starting to warm up. We're starting to get back into motion. It's a really great time to work with the third eye chakra. You see, we've been contemplating what we want spiritually throughout the winter, and now we start to think, well, how do I actually bring that into physical reality? We're not going to bring it into fruition until the throat chakra at the spring equinox, but at Imbolc, it's a really great time to start conceptualizing and thinking about how would I like to make my ideal life? How do I practically bring it into manifestation? So this is a really great time to reach for your Lapis Lazuli. Lapis Lazuli, of course, known as the stone of kings, gods, and leaders. It has lazurite, which brings in that guidance. It has calcite, the white, that clears away all the distractions, and the gold pyrite, that helps us to structure our life in a way that will be abundant and fruitful and beneficial. The essential oil that I want to work with, or I'm encouraging you to work with around Imbolc this year, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's good old peppermint. Peppermint has that chilling effect. It's got that menthol, and it's great to pop it a little bit in your hands and feel that cold and relish that cold. But a really great thing is to pop a drop in your hands, rub your hands together, and take a deep breath in. You'll feel it will really wake you up. And that's what's going to work really well with that third eye chakra, helping you to get clarity on where you want to go. If you're making resolutions about where you want to be at the end of 2024, do you have a roadmap for that? A lot of people go, oh, I want to be this, and I want to have that, and I want to lose that, and I want to gain that, and all that type of thing. But if you don't have a roadmap, if you don't have a clarity, then it's going to be hard to get there. Peppermint, meditating with it, working with it, will help to bring you that clarity. So, Lughnasadh and Imbolc are happening on the 4th of February. Our next astrological event, we're switching from the sun to the moon. We've got our new moon, and this is the new moon in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a sign of community. It's humanitarian. It's very much about thinking about how this will benefit not just you, but other people as well. Aquarius sometimes I like to think of as the light workers sign, because it's about bringing light to the world in more ways. Doesn't mean you have to be a healer, just are you being a good person and are you serving your community? So when it's a new moon, we start to think about, what are my goals for the community? What are my goals for the greater world, those around me, and how can I impact them in a positive humanitarian way in the future? So sit down and contemplate that. A really great crystal to work with at this time is Psilomelane. Now, Psilomelane, also known as black merlinite sometimes, is really great for helping you to change your thought patterns to be more positive. And the more positive and the more optimistic we are, well, you know, you change your minds, you change your life. Or change your minds? You only have one mind. Change your thoughts, change your life. So the more positive you are in your approach to life, the better life will turn out for you and for your community as well. So it's a really great one to work with around that new moon for helping to make sure you remain upbeat. The oil that I've chosen to go with it that works really well with Aquarius, remember Aquarius is an air sign, so we were looking at our thoughts, is Petitgrain. Petitgrain is gifted to us from the leaves of the bitter orange tree. Not the wild orange or the sweet orange tree, but the bitter orange, the other kind of orange. This is all about having a good, strong foundation. You know, the bitter orange tree gives us bitter orange oil from its fruit. It gives us neroli or orange blossom from its flowers. But before we can bear fruit, before our life can blossom, we need to have a strong foundation. The leaves and the twigs that give us petitgrain are that foundation. And this oil, which is sometimes referred to as lavender for men, is very calming. It helps us to make sure that we have a really good plan in place so that we can be successful. So around that new moon in Aquarius, sit there and contemplate, what do I want to bring into the world? And what is my plan? How do I conceive that into being? And working with Psilomelane and Petitgrain at that time will be really beneficial. Now, on the 24th, 14 days later, we then get into our full moon. That's the next significant astrological event. This full moon is in Virgo. Now, Virgo is all about our physical health and well-being. A really great time to set goals for the next 12 months on where you'd like your body to be. Now, I want to say something about this that I got from a really great book when I was reading about hygge, which is the Danish term used for coziness and, you know, creating comfort in your life. The book talked about, and forgive me, I can't remember the author off the top of my head, but she said it's not about what we worry, not in Scandinavia, not about what our body looks like, but more about what our body can do. And that was really quite profound for me. I know so many people that work at the gym, they've got this really muscular toned body, but if you ask them to walk up a hill, they're gasping for air. They can't live their lives and they can't do the things because they don't have the vitality. Instead of focusing on getting the body that looks right, get the body that works right. And the full moon in Virgo is a really great time because we have that feminine, masculine, the sun and the moon on opposite sides of the earth in balance, in harmony, for you to be able to birth new magic to do with your health. If you or someone you're working with is having some health challenges, this is the best full moon of the year to focus on health and to actually improve your health on a magical level. The crystal that I recommend is beautiful Scolarite. White and clear crystals are great to work with on the full moon, and Scolarite is absolutely perfect. This one has a real gentleness in it. If you haven't worked with Scolarite, I want you to think of blue lace agate. It's kind of like a step up from blue lace agate, and that real kind, gentle kind of energy. And one thing that Scolarite really brings you in touch with is your breath. Almost like you can see the breath reaching out and coming in this beautiful spray of Scolarite. Guess what? How we breathe communicates to our body how we're doing. Think about when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're anxious, all those type of things, we shorten our breath. And improving our breath and working and stretching out to all the goodness and bringing in the white light, bringing in the good health, bringing in those good feelings and working with Scolarite is absolutely magical on the full moon. In fact, what I like to do is I actually like to hold it pointed at the full moon and imagine drawing all the rays and drawing all the healing energy of the moon into my body or into the body of someone I'm trying to help heal, and it really being amplified by that high vibrational crystal. The essential oil that I've chosen is Yarrow. Now, I love working with Yarrow Pom, which is from doTERRA. It is Yarrow essential oil with pomegranate seed oil as a base, a really powerful nutritive duo. And Yarrow magically is used first of all for purging, it's used for protection, and it's used for balance. Now, when our body is unhealthy or in a state of ill health, it's normally because of either one or two things. Too much of the bad stuff or not enough of the good stuff. And Yarrow really helps to balance that out. It purges things on all different levels, physical all the way through to spiritual that doesn't serve us, but also draws in all those things that actually do help us and can be really beneficial. And Yarrow and pomegranate seed oil are really good for us as well. Yarrow Pom, I find especially Yarrow essential oil, really resonates with Archangel Michael. So on that full moon, you may want to work with Yarrow, work with your Scolecite, and call on Archangel Michael. Now, what about the planets? What are they doing? Well, they're all kind of continuing on as they are, but there are a couple of significant asteroids that are going into retrograde. You may or may not feel the impact of these because they're not so large in our solar system and impactful, but I wanted to talk to you about them anyway. So the full moon's on the 24th of February, and on that same date, Cassanova goes retrograde. Now, Cassanova is an asteroid, and Cassanova is to do with your flirting and seduction style. Now, when we were born, Cassanova was in one of the 12 zodiac signs, and it can be really interesting to do a bit of a Google search and find out what is your Cassanova sign, to find out how you flirt, how you seduce people, mainly in romance, but in other ways as well. This will be extremely interesting if you do this prior to Valentine's Day when we're all focusing on love. Now, what happens when Cassanova goes into retrograde? You start to look at the way that you are in relationships or that you try and attract relationships into your life. You may start to review it, realize that some of the ways about that you go are a bit manipulative, a bit sleazy or so on. You may also find that other people that you're interested in and actually they kind of drop off around the time of this retrograde. So this can be a really interesting time of reviewing how do I form really spiritually, mutually beneficial romances and close, intimate relationships. Now, if you're feeling like you need a bit of a helping hand because Casanova is not supporting you, Thulite, the crystal I call the Bow Chicka Wow Wow crystal, is a really great one to work with around this time. Thulite helps to bring out that femme fatale or that Don Juan and help you to still find a bit of smoothness when it does come to seducing someone you might be interested in. Now, we also have to seduce those that we're in relationships with, if you are in a relationship, to keep that fire going. So Thulite can be really, really great. Pair that with Sandalwood. Sandalwood, especially for guys, actually has a similar chemistry to a male pheromone and helps to make guys more attractive. But when we think of sandalwood, it is known as an aphrodisiac oil. It is also very grounding and earthy, but also quite spiritual. So it's about bringing favorable relationships that will benefit us physically and spiritually together. That also combined with the fact that sandalwood is a parasitic plant, so it reaches out to other trees and holds onto them and uses their root system for its nutrients. So sandalwood helps us to reach out and connect with other people that are going to be beneficial for us. Hopefully you're not a parasite to them and drain them though, like sandalwood does. But douse yourself in sandalwood around that 24th as well. If you're feeling that you're just kind of losing that knack of seduction, of wooing someone, of romancing someone, or if you kind of want to contemplate a little bit more about how you might change your approach because it doesn't seem to be working. Different events could happen that make you go, oh, that didn't quite come out or work out how I intended it to. Now, our final retrograde that's of significance is on the 28th of February. On that day, it is Ubasti retrograde. Ubasti, spelled U-B-A-S-T-I, is actually named after the Egyptian cat goddess Bast or Bastet. So Bastet or Ubasti, the asteroid, governs our balance and our dance between intimacy and independence. Now, when you think about a cat, they love to snuggle, they love to be around you, but it's all on their terms. And this may kind of be a little bit tested around this time where you're trying to find that balance and can't quite find that balance between spending time with those you love, but also having your own freedom. Especially relationships between women can be a little bit tested around this time. To help us lean into what's really important to have clear vision, work with the crystal Cat's Eye. Now you can see as I move it, it's a bit like tiger's eye Cat's eye, it's a type of chrysoberyl, and it really helps us to see what we truly want in relationships and see what they truly are and have a bit more clear vision when we are feeling a little bit confused. The oil that's sacred to Bast is Valerian. Valerian, again, is very grounding on a deep, profound level. It works really well with those lower chakras to help us realize what do we truly need and want from relationships and make sure that we find that balance between independence and connection and harmonize that. You may find there'll be some challenges around the end of the month that will really kind of help you to question that. But in the end, you'll refine it and improve on it. So that's what you can expect for February 2024. In summary, on the 4th of February, we have Lughnasadh in the Southern Hemisphere, so work with Sunstone and Wild Orange. Or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's Imbolc, where I recommend working with Lapis, Lazuli and Peppermint. On the 10th, you have the new moon in Aquarius, a time to contemplate your humanitarian and community involvement. This is where we work with Psilomelane, also known as black merlinite, and we grab our good old Petitgrain. Then on the 24th, that's when we have our full moon in Virgo, focusing on health with Scolecite and Yarrow. On the same day, Cassanova goes retrograde, so grab your Thulite and your Sandalwood. I'd probably go with Indian Sandalwood on this day, as opposed to like Iliahi, Hawaiian Sandalwood or Australian Sandalwood. I think Indian will work really, really well. And then on the 28th, the last day of February, I know we've got a leap year this year, so it won't be the last day. So on the 28th, Ubasti, the asteroid named after Bast, that's when you want to grab your cat's eye chrysoberyl, and you also want to grab your beautiful Valerian oil and work with them to help you get that balance between independence and connection with others. If you're a woman, watch out for relationships with other women. They can be a little bit tested, and finding that balance as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that's been insightful and helpful and gives you some guidance on what to work with throughout this year. If you're not following me already now on TikTok, I'm now on TikTok as well, but also jump on adambarralet.com and subscribe to my weekly newsletter. That will give you more thorough information about all of these events as they're happening each week. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you soon. Take care and blessed be.